I wanted to do this class because when I first began eating healthier about 6 years ago, there was nothing like this out there. I pretty much had to muddle my way through. I had to go to the library a lot. I looked online a lot, but there was not a lot out there to help me. When I began eating this way, actually, even before that, I'll tell you that I was a fast food junkie. I loved my McDonald's and my Taco Bell especially, and Burger King. And at the time, Kent and I only had one little boy, and it's so sad now to think of what we did to his little body, and our next child too, before we learned better. But we exposed them to so much junk. I mean, we had fast food on average about 3 times a week. Our cupboards were, I cooked some, but it was with a lot of box foods, a lot of mixes, and I didn't use the slow cooking methods that I use now. And there are ways though to make it manageable. I mean, it doesn't have to take up your whole life, and that's part of what I want to show you in this class. I'll tell you a little bit about my conversion story. Like I said, it was about 6 years ago, and I had started to notice a little weight creeping on, and when I was in my mid-30s or so, and I decided that I would try the South Beach diet. It made sense to me. Got the book and read through the whole thing and was implementing it, and I was losing weight, but there were just some things that didn't make sense or fit right in that book that the author would say. He'd tell in the main part of the book, no artificial sugars, and then back in the recipes, he would have recipes that called for Splenda. He would talk about how you shouldn't use any fake fats in the main portion of his book, and then back in the recipe section, he would call for things like promise spread or some weird cheeses that I'd never heard of that were obviously fake kind of processed cheeses. And so I didn't like that didn't really make sense to me, and that didn't jive. And at the time, I had a friend named Kathy who I was talking to one day, and she's not a bulldozer like I am, and she said, well, just go check out this website. And she told me about the westonaprice.org website. I got on there, and one morning I went crazy, and everything changed. I was so spellbound and convicted by the truth that I read there. Now, when I'm teaching you this class and when I'm writing for my website, my main point and the main thing that's always kind of running through my mind is how the truth can set us free. And we could be free from, weight issues and depression and being tired all the time and not having any energy, infertility issues, learning disabilities, kids with, hyperactivity disorders, and expensive medicines with terrible side effects. There's just so many things that we can avoid by eating real food the way that God designed it. Now, the problem, though, that I came upon when I was going through my food conversion was, who do you believe? There's so much conflicting information out there. One person says fats are bad for you, they're going to kill you, you're going to get heart disease. And then I was reading on this Weston Price site that actually fats are good for you. You need fats for energy, and so you can have all the minerals you need to absorb your food and for proper digestion, and you need fats for, your immune system. It builds up your immune system. And so I didn't understand, why was there this big difference? If fats were good for me, why wasn't my doctor telling me this? And I found all sorts of information on there that confused me, and it made so much sense, though, and that's part of what I want to help you figure out, is how do you figure out the truth? What I do is I figure out what is most natural, what's the way that God designed it, what makes sense, what is common sense, and then I think, how does the person who's telling me this benefit? What I want to talk about in my class will fall under a philosophy of nutrition that I first heard from Ann Sargent, a friend of mine, called the three-legged stool of good nutrition. The first leg being getting the bad stuff out. The second leg is getting the good stuff in. And the third is properly preparing your foods for optimal nutrition. It's so much more than just the organic label. And that's something that I want to talk more about in this class. Although at the same time, you don't have to freak out about everything. I try on my website to help people just to relax and do what you can. Another friend of mine named Jeannie talked about the 80-20 plan and how if you eat well 80% of the time, you really don't have to worry about the other 20%, as long as you're not doing anything too nasty with 20%. So, you know, most of the time, the 20% for us is when we're not eating at home, although we don't eat perfect at home either. There's still, I'll show you throughout the class where I still buy maybe a boxed frozen pizza now and then for my teenager mostly. So it's not perfect at home either. But when we go out, for sure, I try just to relax and not be, you know, too terribly anal about every single thing we put in our mouth. Also throughout the class, I want to talk to you a little bit about budgeting and how we can make this work with, you know, not a lot of money. It's expensive and it's worth the extra money, but there are some ways that I can help you figure out things that, you know, will make a difference in your budget. I want to help you break all this down into manageable chunks because, like I said, when I first began, I was so overwhelmed and everything came at me at once, and I felt like I had to throw everything away in my pantry all at once, and I just went crazy and was stressed out about it. But I think that if we do it this way, and I help you every week to change something little, sometimes something bigger, but every week we'll make a change and take it step by step, and it'll be in manageable chunks. There's just a lot I want to teach you, and I'm so excited about this class, and I just hope that it's a huge help to you.